Hello, everybody. It is another week, and yet again, another WXR. So we're fresh off the pay-per-view. So basically, on pay-per-view weeks, instead of going through all the stuff in the week, we're just going to go through the pay-per-view and talk about that. So whoever wants to take it away first, because I don't know if we have a set order for those. So
Did you want to
we
name
can.
the paper you were talking about, or?
Night of Champions. Hey, I remembered something.
I was gonna say Jim can take it away because he's the only one here who actually watched the pre-show.
Fair enough. I'll talk about the pre-show. I didn't see the whole thing. I came in about.
Jim's the only person anywhere in the world to watch the pre-show.
There's a good chance of that, aside from the people sitting in the arena that had no choice. But
No, they were looking at their tweets.
Yeah.
they're on the WWE app. They were watching better pay-per-views from years ago.
They were streaming their PS4 with PlayStation Now.
There you go. They were pre-ordering 2K15.
There you go.
Anyway, the pre-show, yeah, I came in about 7:45 or so. That would be 4:45 for those of you on the Pacific Coast. And okay. And 1:45 for those of you over on the other side of the pond.
I was just coughing as I'm having a cigarette. No need to point it out, Dick.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, no, I was doing that.
Anyway, so I came in right about the main event, well, not main event, but the primary event going on for the pre-show, aside from a lot of hyping of match types and the council, which of course this particularly featured Renee Young, Booker T, Big Show, and Alex Riley, who talked about the matches and hyped everything up.
I did like that panel when I saw him during the show.
Yeah.
The only thing I will say, Alex Riley didn't belong there. Because, like, Big Show legend-ish, Booker T legend, Renee, the up-and-comer who's actually there as in like official capacity, like the announcer-type person.
Yeah.
Alex Riley, I don't know, he's going to comment on, oh yeah, I remember when I was like Santino, good old days, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that Alex Riley is still employed tells me that he must have some kind of dirt on either Triple H or Vince.
Oh, why'd you say that? We used to say that about JTG, and then...
True.
He's still employed because it's revealed, if you ever read his autobiography, that he is the illegitimate son of Moppy. And he had to watch as WWE killed his mother on air. And they just felt so guilty, they sheltered him from the world.
Nice. Moppy!
Okay then, anyway. The primary event of the pre-show was an episode of the long absent but now returned Peep Show. Starring Captain Charisma, Christian. He had an awesome new set type thing, which is basically just an empty ring with a black curtain on it. While on each of the two rear corners there are big signs that said Peep Show and pointing down in the ring with a big arrow. His guest for the Peep Show was one Y2J Chris Jericho, who came out to talk about his match with Randy Orton. However, upon first coming out, the two gentlemen decided to go back and forth and jab at each other regarding who was actually the leader of their tag team back when they were a tag team and won the tag team title.
And I'm going to say, whoa. Christian had Jericho as a guest. Rival talk shows had each other as guests. That's fucking rivals competing in the same arena. You're underplaying the insignificance of this. This would be like if Robert Downey Jr. accepted an Oscar and thanked Ben Affleck. This is the type of rivals we're talking about here. Or, not.
Okay then. But they went back where they jabbed at each other. It was pretty funny, calling out history, this and that. Randy Orton popped up on the monitor to interrupt them as they got back on topic, talking about how Jericho was going to fight Randy Orton tonight, and Christian showed the footage of Orton assaulting Jericho in the trainer's room a couple weeks ago. Orton came up on the screen and basically talked some crap. He had a couple of jokes. He had a pretty good joke where he came on and Ty Drang goes, well. What do we have here? Jericho and Christian. If it isn't the real life Terrence and Phillip. And he threw out another joke. Apparently, yeah, He compared them to what's that?
Which, like I pointed out, doesn't make sense for two reasons.
Yeah.
One, the real world reason of Jericho's not Canadian, and B, if you're going with story reasons, Terrence and Phillip have different first names, so you can tell them apart by the letter on their T-shirt. That wouldn't work if they both had a C.
This is true.
Just saying.
Fair enough. But anyway, so they Orton jibed at them. Then Jericho turned around and started jibing on Orton. So that his jokes were stupid. Then read off a list of both his accomplishments and his catchphrases, and ended it with a build-up, ever be the same again, to end the segment. It built up the match for later in the show pretty well. And the back and forth between Jericho and Christian was kind of fun, because like, wait, are they going to attack each other? But no, Christian brought it back around and got serious, and it worked, so that was pretty cool. It was a great thing to have them back out there to call out history, jibe each other a little bit, two guys that are great on the microphone that know each other really well, jibe back and forth, have Orton come in. It was just a great little segment that was pretty entertaining, and I'm glad I got home in time to see it. It's always great when guys who've been doing. It's always great when guys who've been doing this for a while can go out there and just do what they do best and show why they are who they are. So, So that was the pre-show.
Which is why
Cool.
I believe WXR celebrated its 1 year anniversary. Because we also have been doing what we do best for that long. Because we are also that damn good on Marcus Shadow.
Fuck you.
I included you in the list.
Still, fuck you.
There's no pleasing some people.
I know.
See that. You see what you do, Mole? Now we're going to come here next week, and there's going to be some dead celebrity. It's going to be your fault.
Please be Adam Sandler. Please be Adam Sandler.
We shall see. Anyway,
That's the only way Pixels will be good.
Yeah. Anyway, moving back on to the opening of the pay-per-view, we opened it up with a match for the tag team championships between the Usos and the Dust Brothers. Or, as Michael Cole apparently likes to call them, the Cosmic Twins.
Cosmic Twin powers activate.
Yeah, pretty much. So, what do you guys think of this match? I thought it was okay. It was a pretty good match for a good tag team match. Good way to start the show.
I like the match. I will say I found it a little weird with the opening.
Of course, it's weird. Goldust and Stardust were in the match.
No, with the opening, I found the opening weird with the pacing because. Throughout the night, not all the champions came out first. So having the Usos come out first, as is tradition for some tag teams, almost made no sense as they were the faces based on the rest of the night. They should have come out last, have the Dust Brothers come out and the crowd does the boo, then have the Usos come out and do the thing, which yes, I kind of chanted along at home with, ooh, so, ooh, so, ooh, so. It just works. But I found that pacing a little bad, just the opening pacing a little bad. However, the matchup, I thought the match was fucking good. I thought it was a damn good tag team match. I thought these two, I was kind of getting sick of seeing them. For some reason, I don't know why, at Night of Champions, they proved they still had a new type of match to do. It seemed pretty good. It wasn't the same spots, in the same places. It was pretty fun. I liked that match.
Yeah, it was a good match. The Usos did some of their high flying stuff. Goldust and Cody Rhodes, worked focusing on, they focused on I believe it was Jimmy for most of the match, trying to wear him down. There was some outside ring dives, taking each other out. It was a really good match.
Before we continue, I would like to say, hi, Queen of Hearts. She is watching at the moment.
Hello, Queen of Hearts.
Hi, Queen of Hearts.
And I'm also going to say, you believe it's Jimmy? Are you trying to say all Samoan wrestlers look the same, you racist?
I thought the match was pretty good. That's when my stream kind of messed up at the beginning a little bit. So yeah, WWE, you need to get on that and fix your shit.
That's the other thing. My stream was messed up the whole damn night.
See, my stream was fine. It glitched here and there, but for the most part, my stream was fine, except at the very beginning, and it stabilized about halfway through that match. So I kind of saw bits and pieces of the first half of the match. So I didn't actually see the whole thing, but I saw the end of it, so of course I know who won. It was decent. It was a pretty good tag team match. I'm glad the Dust Brothers won. I didn't expect them to win, but I'm glad they won because I wanted them to actually take the titles eventually. So yay!
Yep, and today was eventually. But I will
Yeah.
ask the question of, was it the WWE's network's fault when you're saying WWE fixed that stuff? Only because, I don't know if anyone else noticed, when you were complaining about the WWE having the technical difficulties, you sounded broken up on some words. It was like, and then you were coming back, like there was like little gaps and broken up a bit. And I was wondering whether or not network issue, like if network stability on your end may have possibly caused the streaming issues, just in case anyone out there is watching them and found it perfectly fine.
It's a possibility, except Jim kind of corroborated it, saying his stream was messed up the entire night too. So now, to be fair, Jim's internet's about as shit as mine, but
Yeah, but the thing is, what it was, it's not that it was that, because it wasn't like it was just cutting out and then coming back in. What it would do is it would start messing up. Then all of a sudden it would jump back like 3 minutes, and then yes, I just said 3 minutes. It would then start. It would jump back a few minutes and start playing itself, or even just 30 seconds, then start playing itself again. And there were several instances where it got messed up. It went forward, it froze for a second. Then it was frozen while the audio jumped back and played again. And then when the audio caught up with the video started moving again.
Nice. Which that could be a buffering issue, but from an internet source, because I don't know if that was just me, but like when you said like 3 minutes and stuff like that, you were like an echo to it. I don't know if that was my end.
I'm guessing, because I think they stream everything in HD, I'm guessing it's a combination of the output from WWE, like the sheer size of the stream, versus the internet, the input of my internet and the stability therein, and compatibilities or incompatibilities between that.
Yeah,
but when I had the issue, it did the freezing thing like Jim said. You could still hear the audio, but it froze. And it stayed there long enough that I was like, yeah, this isn't going to fix itself. So I actually had to cut the stream and completely restart the stream, and then it kind of fixed itself, and I was okay from then on.
See, I didn't do that.
Glitches and stuff here and there.
I didn't do that. Mine inevitably fixed itself each time, but...
Yeah, it could be a network issue. WWE may have an issue with too many people doing it at once. It could be on their end. But like I mentioned, just in case people were listening who had the WWE network, I didn't want messages saying, oh, well, my stream worked fine.
Right.
Just in case. I didn't want to lie about it on TNA.
And in fact, to our viewers out there, if you'd like to post comments below or on our website, maybe open up a little discussion with us about it. Tell us if you guys, if you have the WWE Network and if you've been experiencing glitch issues, because this wasn't the only day that happened. That happens almost every pay-per-view we watch on the network. It does a fast-forward, rewinding, freezing stuff. So we'd like to hear your stories too, because if it is a wider problem, then WWE kind of needs to get on that.
Well, it's not just that. It's a matter of, it's just the way things are in this day and age, unfortunately, is that at this point, until somebody invents a new compression algorithm to further compress data so it can more easily travel over the internet's going to continue choking on streaming HD video simply because of the size of these files. Inevitably, someone's going to have to create terabyte compression. It's just going to have to happen.
To be fair, you can watch HD out videos and stuff pretty damn good on some stuff like Netflix and Amazon Prime and stuff like that. But so it's not like it's incapable of ever watching them.
No, I think the issue is twofold probably, and this is just my guess. It's probably partly due to the size of the stream because HD and all that. And this is the reason why I said WWE needs to get on their shit and fix this, because I think one of the more prevailing issues here, this is just a guess, is that like many MMOs out there and stuff and other streaming services that when they were younger, my guess is WWE probably just barely doesn't have the infrastructure to actually pump out as many copies of the signal as they need to. So it could be, for lack of a better term, I guess this is kind of a technical term, the size of their pipe choking what's going out of their servers. If they increase the size of their bandwidth, basically their pipe, I think that will alleviate some of the issues because it'll allow more of that data to go out. Because I think even with HD streaming, our internet service is more than capable of streaming that down, and that's we see that every day when we go onto like YouTube and stuff and look at like 720p, 1080p videos. So we know our residential home internet has more than enough bandwidth to take a couple gig, stream, and download it. But if WWE's outbound pipe is so small compared to the demand on that pipe, then what they're pumping out isn't going to be enough, and we're going to see only portions of that coming down, and it'll stagger and it'll freeze and all kinds of other issues. And I think that's probably where their issue lies. They just need a larger infrastructure.
Yeah, which that totally makes sense, and I will say it's very apt referring to it or comparing it to a MMO, because like most MMOs on the market, WWE sucks at endgame.
This is true too.
I was just going to
Anyway.
say that
Thank you.
you were telling WWE that the genetic jackhammer's pipe isn't big enough and it doesn't pump out enough stuff.
Nice.
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
That's what Linda said.
Nice. So yeah,
Okay, back
our
to the
review of the pay-per-view has turned into a technical gigawatt about how internet works, kids. Which I believe the technical term is fairies come and deliver it directly to your magic box, or what your parents may refer to as their pleasure box. And basically, that's how the internet works. So we just need more fairies.
Mhm.
There you go.
If you're looking for a job as a fairy, please apply below.
Mhm. So there's a gigawatt, but is it 1.21 gigawatts?
No.
Great Scott, Jimmy.
That format has officially been dead since about 1980s. We've moved on now. Now we're in like the fucking mega gigawatts.
Ah.
Or is it super mega gigawatts? I can't keep up.
Hang on, where's the... There we go.
There we go.
I don't know whatever you're referring to.
Ah,
Anyway, next match.
indeed.
Existed.
Yeah,
Ah.
No.
That must have been a really good one.
Thank you, Geeky Girl. Okay. But yes, the next match of the evening was for the United States Championship between Sheamus and Cesaro.
That was actually a damn good match.
That was a very good match.
I thought the match was. This may sound weird. I found the match was okay. I found that the dullest on the card, if that makes sense. But it wasn't bad. It was still a good pay-per-view. I will put that out there.
Well, I think it's because it was too. Basically, it was too power. The problem is that they were both really power guys, and they tried to make it a technical match, and that wasn't a good setup to start the match at all.
I think the main reason with this may have been, I can't believe I'm going to use this as a comparison, but who here has seen Dusk Till Dawn 2?
Not me.
There's a conversation when they're sat in the bed about porn. And they mention with porn, and I totally agree with this, that one of the guys mentions he prefers a story within his pornography, because when you have a story, you care more about the fucking.
I agree with that.
This is basically WWE minus stuff, obviously, to fucking play fucking with wrestling. Of Cesaro versus Sheamus doesn't really have a story besides they're going at it. There's no real story there besides they sort of respect each other and don't like each other. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not Citizens Kane. It's not fucking Citizen Kane with the. I don't mean bald Kane before anyone makes that joke. I just mean it's not brilliant storytelling. It's just there, and as a result, the feud didn't seem as epic from the get-go.
So basically what you're saying is it was boring to you because you just really didn't care about everything around it, which is fair enough.
Yeah, I was like, as a result, also as a result of lack of storytelling, they couldn't tell a story within their match.
True.
Which is kind of disappointing, but at the same time, it wasn't a bad match. It wasn't like fucking terrible. I'm not putting that down. It's not like a Ryback match.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, it was
but
actually, yeah.
yeah, it's not like a Ryback match or a Jeff Hardy's High match. It's basically it was a okay match. It just it wasn't one I'd exactly care about. I don't know, but that may sound weird or jaded. I don't know.
No, that completely makes sense because
Yeah.
a lot of these the opinions on the matches are subjective, and it comes down to personal taste. And for you to you can look at the technicality of the match and whatnot and see if the competitors in the match are good, which I believe you're saying they were. But for you to consider it a good match, you personally have to care about the match, which is a personal thing. I can't say, well, no, that's bullshit. You shouldn't have to care because I'm not you. And the fact that you have to care about the match, fair enough. And I completely understand, and I would agree with some of the stuff of, and some of the matches I think are better because I do care, but I think I'm also, the type of person and the type of watcher who can look at a match, take the story out of it, and just look at it from a purely technical and physical standpoint of, was this physically a good match? And again, that's a personal thing.
To be
so
fair,
I don't think you're wrong in your opinion.
Like I said, to be fair, I can do that because I watch NXT and stuff. It's just this matchup. Let's face it, wasn't exactly a technical blowout in terms of like an NXT match, and it wasn't exactly a storytelling matchup in regards to, I know, Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair WrestleMania.
No.
It was
Right, because it was
just sort of existed on the card, and they did some impressive stuff. But at the end of the day, it wasn't it wasn't so good that you didn't care about the story, and it was just there. It's weird. It's a weird combo, but I don't know. What does Rick think about a situation like that?
I don't know. Well, I could see that maybe you would care more if you were invested in the story. But yeah, I could definitely see. It sounds really like a cop out, but I could totally see both sides. Like if I could see how if you don't care about it, you might not pay as much attention to it. So I'm not saying that you like missed anything good or anything, but I could totally see that like if you care about it, you're going to be into it, and it would make a questionable match a lot better and a good match like legendary. Right. Where if you didn't care, you'd be like, and even if it was a good match, you might. I could see just not getting into it, and it seems like you appreciate. You're like, yeah, it was okay. Like there was nothing wrong with it. Ultimo Dragon didn't trip on his cape or something like that. But
I'm just gonna say, fuck off. You're not Switzerland. Pick a side. I'm sorry. I just always wanted to mention the Switzerland neutral joke once. In this, I'm like,
especially with Cesaro.
Okay, I'll do it quick.
Technically it does work now because Cesaro is from Switzerland. Therefore, it's a valid opinion.
I don't think anything from Switzerland's valid.
Oh,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, you're absolutely right.
That's chocolate.
What, you don't think that army knife is valid?
Yeah, no, that chocolate is nice, and that army knives are fucking impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, putty. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Rick. Whether you care about a match or not can and usually will affect whether you think the match is good or how good you feel a match is. But I think it's also, like I said, it's a personal opinion thing, but it's also like match to match, because I think there are some matches where whether you care about the story behind the match or the people in it aren't as important as it is in other matches, if that makes sense.
I completely agree. I think for me personally, if the matchup with no story, then the matchup itself, it needs to be fucking epic. It needs to be like fucking, like I mentioned, like the NXT matches, or like it needs to be like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Iron Man match minus the story.
Yeah, and that was the problem with this match. Was, no offense to the guy, but it's no secret on the X Pound, I'm not really a fan of him. And it's, I think, in terms of the match, Sheamus kind of dragged it down because, let's face it, he's big, brute. He's not really technical at all. And Cesaro, I think, can be technical, and I think he showed some technicality in the ring tonight.
Would I be right? Would I be right in assuming the reason you went, I'm not a big fan of, I'm not a Sheamus fan, is... am I assuming the reason you did that is you realised every time you've made a comment of I'm not a huge something fan, we've made the joke of you being small. Did you try to sidestep that sneakily? It sounded like you tried to
A little
sidestep.
bit. Yeah.
You were like, oh wait, size joke coming. I must stop. Back up. It's not gonna be a Hugh
Yeah, pretty
Jackman punching Dolph Ziggler moment. I'm
No,
just
I
gonna
mean,
say
like,
kudos. He's learning.
Yeah, but and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually love Cesaro in this match. I was like, wow, he's kind of impressive. He had some sloppy moments, but I think most of that was fatigue because that was more near towards the end of the match. Which I'm like, okay, fair enough. He's getting tired. He's gonna get a little sloppy, or like when he did the fucking launch uppercut, he didn't quite launch him as high as he should have. And again, I think it's because he was getting tired, and so he didn't have the physical strength to actually launch him. But
Could
the
also
match,
possibly be because Sheamus is taller.
I'm bigger, heavier. Yeah, that's a possibility too.
So
But I think
we had some. I think we had some technical difficulties on my end. You weren't speaking when I spoke.
yeah, you've been breaking up a little bit during this.
Yeah,
as well.
the hangout is kind of having some. The hangout is having some audio. Yeah, the hangout is having some audio issues. We're all popping in and out here and there.
Sorry to the audience, but I also wanted to make a note of that because I thought Marcus would probably get annoyed if it sounded like I was just deliberately interrupting him. I wasn't. It sounded like he'd finished speaking, so I continued. And then after I spoke and he started to continue his sentence, and I'm like, oh, shit.
Fair enough.
Oh, well.
But yeah, I don't know. I liked the match. It was a good match. But I felt Sheamus brought the match down, just because he's not quite at the technical level of Cesaro.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course with the size weight issue thing, like that you mentioned, Mole, of if it was a size weight or fatigue, like I said, because they both looked pretty wiped out by the end of the match, and it was a pretty long match. So kudos to them for going that long.
Yeah, so
But I was just like,
Cesaro's great technical ability that reduced him to slapping Sheamus in the face about 20 times.
yeah, well, what else is he going to do against Sheamus? I mean, like I said, Sheamus isn't very technical, so anything that would actually look cool or look good that Cesaro would try to do to Sheamus would make it look like shit. Cesaro wasn't about to do that.
Pick him up and hit him with that fucking impactor finisher that he does. That would look pretty good. You could big swing him. That would have looked impressive.
I would actually say, ironically, Sheamus can be technical. He hasn't been in WWE. Part of that is the booking. But one of the reasons he got hired, or one of the comments like even Triple H had made, and I've seen him wrestle outside of WWE, it's a case of he wrestled very much like, Triple H just before his prime, that technical level. And then he came to WWE and like, he's big. Yeah, fuck it, we'll just get him to do more power. Which I don't think that works, because,
No.
I mean, his style's not bad. Like, his high cross is awesome. Or his Celtic cross, whatever he calls that move. Or Pale Justice, it's been renamed. When he throws them, that's a great power move. He does the power move stuff well. It's just, I think WWE should let him do more of the technical stuff. But I fear, with how long he's done the power, they may have wasted that potential there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a possibility too. Yeah, if he'd unleashed the technical side, I think this match would have been 10 times better, because I really felt throughout the course of the match, and I constantly felt this, that I felt Cesaro was holding back and being held back by the fact that Sheamus in WWE is a power wrestler, and so he wasn't able to actually use like half his arsenal, and actually they weren't able to actually put on a match like, say, I don't know, like Jericho v. Flair or something like that. Something on that level, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
I
the way
understand
they book Sheamus doesn't have the, quote, ability, unquote, to actually perform at that level. And like you said, at this point, he may actually not have the ability to perform at that level, because he may not, like you said, he may not have done it for so long that he's, they've squandered that potential within him.
Yep. And I will say the other thing with stuff like this matchup as well is they built it as two people who were part technical, part power, and it didn't really work. It's like, I think if in a matchup like this, you either need to go, if it's two big guys, because let's face it, Cesaro is almost booked like a big guy, just with a bit more technical skill. They need to build it like a brawl, which I understand why they didn't. Slight spoiler, main event. But it also works the other way of have one be the technical guy and have one be the power, but with the size of Cesaro, that wouldn't work. Like, say, Sheamus versus, off the top of my head, I don't know, Dolph Ziggler or Kofi Kingston or someone like that. They could build that matchup in the same vein as the Shawn Michaels Diesel matches, which some of those were fucking awesome when they did some of the hardcore stuff, ironically before the Attitude Era, to the degree where you were like, holy fuck, these guys actually do hate each other. And you'd get like the big guy like power bomb Shawn Michaels, like Nash would power bomb Shawn Michaels like through the fucking announce table into the stairs, and it'd be like, oh my god, the power guy's doing this, but wait, the quick guy's jumping off stuff and attacking him. And it's like you either need to go full opposites, or you need to find a style that works for two big guys, like a brawl. Like,
Right.
I wouldn't want to watch Undertaker v Batista and have it be the most technical matchup on the card, because
That's the
I
mission
don't
match.
think that would work. Yes, I don't think that would, like Iron Man match. I don't think that would work. I want to see those two as a brawl. However, Undertaker v Jericho, let's say, I could totally see that be going in a similar, but maybe not quite as good way as Shawn Michaels Undertaker. And I think that would benefit as a result.
I want to see the technicality of Batista versus a basketball in a grudge match.
Impossible. They don't hold grudges.
This is true.
Oh. Yeah, I would say the other thing I was disappointed with the match was, and we've been talking about this match, and we've never ever mentioned this, which is interesting. It should have been the first thing we mentioned. Yeah, Cesaro lost.
He did, because he resorted to bitch smacking Sheamus in the face, at which point Sheamus said, yeah, fuck you, and Bro kicked him in the face.
I will say, ironically, I had no problem with that. Just because out of the two of them, I mean, I don't hate Sheamus. I think Sheamus has been underused. I feel he needed a push again recently. Because Sheamus, when he's actually given a push and stuff, out of the two of them, he actually has more personality. And that's kind of what I want from a champion, someone that's got more personality, depending on the championship. Because as a result, they're more flexible. Yeah, because as a result, they're more flexible. Where I could see Sheamus in a good feud with Mark Henry, and I could see him in a good feud with Big Show, but I could also see him in a good feud with Rey Mysterio, The Miz, Dolph Ziggler, people like that. Whereas Cesaro, I don't see Cesaro having as good a feud in terms of as a feud with all of those same people, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's weird.
I think Cesaro could. I think it's. I don't think they've given him a chance because they've always given him a mouthpiece when he's very capable of being his own mouthpiece, and he kind of proved it when he debuted with who was he with? Was it Oksana that he was with?
Yes.
Yeah, when he debuted with her, it's like his English is not terrible. He can hold his own in a conversation. He can cut promos, and to a degree, I feel his associations with managers have kind of hurt him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Paul Heyman more than fuck, I forgot his name. Dude with the mustache or beard.
Zev Coulter.
Yeah.
Coulter.
That was a
not
pretty good
Tim.
But yeah, that was a good association. Heyman, I felt, was unnecessary, and I feel that Cesaro does have personality and charisma. They just don't let him show it because they're billing him as basically the international guy who can't speak English.
So
I'm like, that kind of disappoints me.
No, they're billing him as the guy who speaks 5 languages, actually.
Yeah, I do think he has range, and I do think he does have more personality than WWE is letting him shown. But I feel as a character, especially and with microphone skills, I feel Sheamus is more so, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Am I the only one who thinks that it would be really awesome if Cesaro face turned and went into a feud with Rusev? Because those are two relatively big guys who can also move and do a lot of some of that technical stuff too. And I think it could be a really great feud, especially because you could book it. You could have Cesaro go over him to really put him over, and book it in such a way that Cesaro comes out and roasts Rusev. Basically says, Rusev, a lot of you've been out here. You are, you're talking a lot of trash. You're doing a lot of this about Russia. But the thing is, I have to realize one thing you need to understand is that it is not just America that gets annoyed at your bullcrap. It is most of the world that is annoyed with you're full of crap, and I represent most of the world. I speak 5 languages, you know. Therefore, I'm going to shut you up on behalf of the whole world, not just America.
I say the best way to end Rusev is for Triple H to just come out and say, I'm sick and tired of you always saying Russia is the best and Russia will always win. So as a result, live at the next pay-per-view, you will face the returning Vladimir Kozlov.
Ha!
Either way, Russia won't be dominant. Russia will lose.
Ah, that'd be funny.
My guess is this is kind of where I'd like to see the Rusev thing go, given the results of tonight's pay-per-view. I think he should go into a feud with Sheamus, because I think it's time that Sheamus came out and be like, all right, fella, I might not be from the United States, but god damn it, I'm the United States champion, I'm going to shut your ass up.
That would work too.
Yeah, but
And as much as it would serve no purpose, and he'd be given that the only way for the feud to win would be for him to lose. I kind of want Kurt Angle to show up and fight him.
But like I said, the matchup though, like I said, no, it wasn't a bad match. I thought
Not at all.
weakest on the card for me personally,
Okay,
but
right.
I would say the whole card was pretty strong tonight. To be fair,
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I would say the matches in terms of technicality were, in terms of technicality and the matches themselves as wrestling matches were good. I just think a number of them had kind of weak stories, and I think that hurt some of the matches.
some had some weak moments, but they were still good as a whole.
And we'll get to that.
We will.
Right. Nothing else to know about this match. Why don't we move on?
That's what I was doing. I was trying to steer us back towards the pay-per-view.
Fair enough. So the next match that came out, we had The Miz with Damian Mizdow challenging for the Intercontinental Championship against Dolph Ziggler and accompanied by R. Ziggler.
See, this
Yes,
is one of the
yes,
weaker matches for me.
Yes, Richter, R. Ziggler is a thing now.
It is.
To be
Yes, R.
Yes.
Ziggler. He comes out wearing a Ziggler shirt. And I should mention before the Sheamus match, there was a promo where Dolph Ziggler and R. Ziggler were interviewed by, was it Renee or was it Sanford in the back? Somebody in the back.
It was Byron Saxton.
So Byron Saxton interviewed them in the back, and they basically said, because Renee was on the panel, and they basically said, Dolph Ziggler said, I'm facing The Miz tonight, and, he goes on about, I don't, go on about, being important in Hollywood. I don't obsess about my face and about being beautiful and about this and that and the other thing. And that's what's going to cost Miz, is he's not focused on what's really important. That's being in that ring and being a wrestler. And tonight, after I rearrange his moneymaker, well, Miz will never work in this town again. And he walked off, and then R. Ziggler goes over and goes, Shizzo is off. And just walked off.
You also forgot the other hilarious part.
What's that?
Where he introduced R. Ziggler and said, yeah, he's my stunt double. And to be honest, I can't even tell us apart sometimes. And they just grin next to each other face by face.
That's true. That was funny, too.
I found that fucking hilarious. Yeah, it's uncanny. They should win magic.
There you go. It'll be funny if they pulled to a magic and it worked.
I want them to do that once with Miz and Mizdow. Like, I want Mizdow to go in for him, and the ref just lets it go. I think that would be hilarious.
See, unfortunately, they tried that the other week, and the ref did not let it go. Because when they had a match the other night, Miz came out. He was supposed to fight. I don't remember who the hell it was. I think it was Shane or somebody. He was supposed to fight somebody, and he didn't want to get in the ring. So he tried to. It was a tag team match. He tried to send Miz down in to wrestle for him, and the ref was like, "No, you can't do that. That's not illegal." And meanwhile, Miz slid in the back of the ring and rolled the dude up while he was distracted by Miz down and got the victory. Or no, he rolled him up or he had a Skullcrushing finale or something, but he got the victory because Miz down distracted him trying to get in the ring.
Yeah, and I will say to you, Rick, I'd like to see the other one done. I'd like to see a special guest referee, because I think it works more with a special guest referee. During the matchup, I want Dolph Ziggler to fall out the ring, go under the ring like the Bellas do, have R-Truth come in. I want the referee to stop the match and clearly and basically do it for disqualification when R-Truth hits the other one. The next week, I want Dolph Ziggler to come out in the ring with a contract that says R-Truth is officially a stunt double, hired to look like him, blah, 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 blah. And the fact the referee said he didn't look like him is racism, and I want him to sue that guy. just to make it more fucking hilarious. Wait, you're suing him because he dared to see race? What the fuck?
That would be
so hilarious.
That would be good.
But yeah, the match.
That would be good. Anyway, and then he gets pissed off that he hired to see race. You find out that he hired David Otunga to defend him.
Yeah, but yeah, I like this. I like this match.
Yes, it was a good match. It should be mentioned that at the opening of this match, we had some special guests for Night of Champions. Joining us in the ring, Tyler Humbert and Brian Kelly, Florida Georgia Line.
Yep.
Since they were in Nashville, Tennessee, and they came out to the ring to their new hit song, which was entitled "Anything Goes" from the album of the same title. Or no, was it Anything Goes? The album is Anything Goes. The song was Sundays. Okay, fair enough.
It was either Anything Goes, No Holds Barred, or Hardcore. Either way, you can go for the results on WWE right now.
There you go. Anyway, they came out to their new hit song, and they went around the ring. They high-fived people in the crowd. They sat down with the commentators for the duration of this match to talk about the match as it was going on. It was a pretty good match. They went back and forth. They did. Florida Georgia Line also announced that they would be at the Tribute to the Truth special in December. That was their big announcement.
Mm-hmm.
So stay tuned for that. And during the course of the match, Mizdow was talking some crap and trying to get involved, and the two of them punched him in the face.
Yeah. Which, as I was saying, I like this match, and I was going to mention the guests. I thought one of them, whichever one's the blonde dude with the spiked up hair, I mentioned he looked so much like Jericho, it wasn't funny. I was like, that dude looks like Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
When I seen him, just like, is that Jericho? Has he got another gimmick right now? Did they gimmick swap him?
Yeah.
I'm confused. But
He does look like Jericho.
yeah, I like this match, and the end result was the Miz won, which yay, because I don't like Dolph Ziggler as champion. But I was all for it. I thought the matchup, it wasn't the best match these two could probably have put on, but it certainly wasn't horrible. And I thought with the result and stuff, I thought that's great, especially if, as people keep rumoring and we keep discussing the whole rumor from Crappy Dirt Sheets of merging the two titles, Miz versus Sheamus is a much better feud than Cesaro versus Ziggler.
Agreed.
Miz versus Sheamus, I think that could actually be a really fun feud.
That could be a great feud. Because both of those guys are good on the microphone, they can talk a good game. Both of those guys are good in the ring, and you could really book it well. And referring to your point earlier of you would book Sheamus' outright power with Miz's more technical skill with the figure four leg lock and whatnot.
Yeah, and also Miz also has the equalizer of stunt double.
Yeah, Damien Miz now.
Because there's going to be a part where Sheamus eventually bro kicks. And what did Damien Mizdow? Or I could actually see that being the end of the match. I could kind of see the match ending with bro kick off the apron to Mizdow, skull crushing finale.
Yeah.
I could totally believe that as a result.
Am I the only one who kind of wants Sheamus to announce that he can do better than Miz and he's hired 2 stunt doubles and then come out with the Highlanders?
or just one and come out with Beaker.
Yeah, Speaker.
Or just a guy wearing like a white sheet over like his whole body, dressed up like a ghost.
Yeah.
And then Miz would just be like, "Oh yeah," he's like, "You expect us all to believe that guy looks like you?" And he's like, "Well, you expect us to believe that guy looks like you?"
I've hired a stunt double that looks like me, and it's Hulk Hogan in a Sheamus outfit.
Also, Jim, doesn't your idea not work because isn't one of the Highlanders part of the Wyatt family right now?
No, that's not a Highlander.
I thought he was one of the 2 Highlanders.
No, he's not a Highlander. He's some dude that was in NXT.
Because I remember I asked that like when they debuted, and I swear someone said, "Yeah, he's one of the Highlanders." I was like, "Oh."
I don't think he's one of the Highlanders, as far as I know.
I'm not sure about that, but I don't really. I didn't look, but I will also say if I got my wish, Rick, Hulk Hogan stunt double for Sheamus. What you gonna do, fella? I would totally lose my shit. I would be all like, "Yep, you've won the wrestling for life. It's impossible to win the wrestling, but you've won it. All of the wrestling, you've won. Just take the wrestling and go home. You've won. It's over."
There you go.
But what did Marcus think about this match?
Like I said, it was one of the weaker matches for me. I didn't particularly care for this match. It wasn't a terrible match, but I don't know. Like, Jim and I were talking immediately on Skype immediately following the pay-per-view, and as Jim pointed out, and I think this is part of the reason why I just didn't really care for the match, is because as he pointed out, this was more about I keep forgetting their name. The band that came out. The singers that came out.
The problem is the entire match was basically focused on Florida Georgia Line is here, and the commentators talking about them and them talking about we're going to be at the Tribute to the Troops and promoting their album and all the shit that they're doing, and not talking about focusing on what was going on in the ring. They were kind of ignoring the match for the sake of promoting their special guest. And the more that they even got involved in the match, and that was the only point where they focused on the match. It was like that seems like kind of wrong. Like you're going to ignore this what could be a great match between Miz and Ziggler, who are relatively good competitors. Miz is better than Ziggler, but still, could have been a relatively good match, and you're ignoring it for the sake of your guest. Which, okay, have your guest promote your guest, but don't do it during a match.
Thanks for cutting me off, Jim. But yes, you're absolutely right.
To be fair, I didn't have a problem with that, just because how many times have we all mentioned we've been watching it and we just tune the commentators out because we don't like the commentator team at the moment much, so we don't really pay attention. I'm like, even if they're hyping other stuff, or if they're talking about the matchup, either way, they're probably going to be ruining something to do with the matchup. Like, oh my god, skull crushing finale. That's a modified pile driver.
He did a modified elbow drop.
True.
What?
Oh my god.
Miz just say the other thing that
vintage Miz.
Oh god.
Adrian Neville.
But no, the other thing that annoyed me about the match too is after the match. Okay, especially with pay-per-views. Sometimes with Raw, but with pay-per-views, it happens with almost every match. After the match, they'll do a replay or two of, like the finish of the match and maybe another spot in the match. The only thing they fucking replayed after the match was those two guys shoving Miz down. I'm like, that's what you decide to do a replay of at the end of the match?
Yeah. Well, trust me, we're not the only ones that noticed it. Because like I said, I'm just reading the list of matches for the benefit of being able to remember the order they came in off of this recap by Matt Boone over on Raja. And even he said in his mentioning of this match right here, and I quote, early on the IC champ Ziggler's having his way with the former champ, The Miz, the announcers are pretty much ignoring the action to kiss Florida Georgia Line's ass, and they are plugging their songs, albums, and all kinds of other non-wrestling related stuff more so than they do the $9.99 network crap. Pretty sickening. I mean, it's obnoxious how much they're plugging their country music crap as opposed to focusing on the two guys working their butts off inside the squared circle.
Okay, but I like I said, I didn't say you guys were wrong and they didn't do that, Jim. I said they did do that. I know they did that. But I've gotten so used to the commentating being so shit over the years, they could be out there commenting on a completely different matchup that they're watching on the network, and I wouldn't be able to tell the difference because I've been so fine-tuned to tuning out the commentary ever since Michael Cole went into coal miner mode all those years back. As a result, I'm always tuning them out, so I don't care if they're flogging shit or if I talk about the matchup. Either way, I'm not really paying attention to them too much, except for now and again I've tried slightly tune myself to maybe go, oh wait, did JBL just make a funny comment? I think he did. What was that? Okay, well, yeah, that was funny.
Yeah. To be honest, am I the one that kind of wants him to do that now just to see if anybody's paying attention? I'm start commentating on a totally unrelated match from the network from like 10 years ago, just to see if anybody's paying attention to what they're saying.
I wish.
As long as it's got the same two people in there, like I don't know, get Jericho v Rey Mysterio to have a matchup on Raw, then get them to watch an old Jericho v Rey Mysterio matchup on the network and do the commentary from the match.
Yeah, like that would have been perfect for tonight. Just start commenting on a Jericho Orton match from back before Orton kicked him in the head and put him out.
Like, oh my god, Rey Mysterio's got a ladder, and everyone would be, and if anyone's paying attention, I'll be like, but he's in the ring on his back. What
the fuck? That'd be hilarious. Just change out. The funny thing is, it'll be even better. They don't even have to just replay. All they have to do is just cut off the announcers' mics and just start playing the recording of that commentary and just see if people notice.
As long as it's got the same three. I noticed that there was no JBL, and Michael Cole now sounds like half of his face is numb.
Ouch. But yeah, no, it's King and Cole, and they can just mention, JBL's going to the back to check on something. He'll be back in a few minutes or something,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, but anyway.
I do have to give credit where credit's due. I did notice that Ziggler kind of slowed down a little bit tonight, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Because I feel a lot of his moves were cleaner tonight than the previous pay-per-view, which, alright, kudos to Ziggler. But still, yeah, it's Ziggler.
Fair enough. Moving on from that match, after we get a new IC champ in The Miz to end it out, we after some promos, because there must be some commercials for things, we cut back to what is supposed to be Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. Unfortunately, as was announced previously by showing the convenient clip of Scott Sanford at headquarters from the breaking WWE Network news they aired yesterday to announce it, Roman Reigns was unfortunately rushed into emergency surgery yesterday for a bad hernia he had, and so it's obviously not here tonight to compete against Seth Rollins. He will be out 4 to 6 weeks, if not longer. So Seth Rollins come out to the ring and began, of course, talking crap about Roman Reigns, saying he's weak. Emergency surgery is no excuse for you not being here tonight. In the interest of fairness and the interest of justice, I'm going to give Reigns to the count of 10 to get out here and face me right now. So he makes the referee in the ring count to 10, and then after that he makes them ring the bell and declare him the winner by forfeit, and then makes the referee raise his hand. At this point, Rollins cuts the music off and he basically says, I think he makes referee raise his hand at that point, and then he says, everyone's disappointed, so because Reigns isn't half the man that we thought he was, he's not even as honest, but I am a much better man, and therefore, I know you came to see me compete tonight, and I care about the people. I'm not going to let you down. So I am therefore issuing an open challenge to anyone who wants to come out here and take this, this amazing opportunity, because the authority is all about opportunity. So I'm issuing an open challenge for anybody that wants to fight me tonight. Anyone wants to have a match with me tonight, come out here right now. And he waits a few minutes and nobody answers. Like, come on, anybody wants to wrestle me, come on. After a couple of minutes, the screen kicks on and we see a cab pull out up at the parking lot, and who should jump out but Dean Ambrose, who immediately makes a beeline into the arena and runs down to the ring and starts assaulting Seth Rollins. They fight out of the ring, into the crowd, up into the crowd, back around the other side through the crowd, back up to the stage, at which point Triple H and 70 came out with a bunch of security guards trying to break him up. Ambrose took down What was the best part?
The best part, he gets out and he starts to run, and this, like I said, I do tune in now and again in terms of the commentary for funny JBL lines. I heard JBL saying, I was like, wait, did he just say that? I double checked and he did. As he ran off, JBL mentioned how despicable Dean Ambrose was because he didn't pay his cab fare.
How does he know that Dean Ambrose didn't pay his cab fare?
Because you see the cab pull up, you see him open up the door and just run.
Maybe he
could have paid him before he opened the door.
The car stopped for like a split second. It was only like a split second.
No, I mean like when he got in, maybe he paid.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a flat rate to get bused to the wherever they were.
to the arena, yeah.
To the Superdome.
Oh wait, you need a taxi right now to get you to the arena for a conveniently placed open challenge that'll just suit your inevitable return to the ring. $30.
Yeah, exactly.
Or he could have just said, bill it to Vince McMahon.
Yeah, there you go.
How much will my taxi be? $9.99. But I got it from across the road. I don't care. You make me pay that, and I'm across the road from your building.
Anyway, so he fights Seth Rollins.
Scene.
Yeah. So he fights Seth Rollins through the crowd, and they end up over on the stage where Triple H, Stephanie, and a bunch of security have come out. Surprisingly, not Citizen Kane. And basically, the security dresser manages to rip Ambrose off of Rollins. At which point he manages to get free of the guys. He climbs up on top of one of there were two set pieces on the stage. He climbs up on one, he runs off it, jumps on the 7 or 8 security guards and takes them all down in one shot. Then jumps on the other one, jumps off of that one onto Rollins and continues fighting him over on the right side. And now security finally pulls him apart again and drags him away.
Yeah, which I did ask the people I was watching this with did ask the question. I explained it of their heels, they defy logic, but they did ask me a question of if he created an open challenge, why was Dean Ambrose arrested for accepting the challenge?
That's not just their question. I think that's the same question Michael Cole was asking.
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
I know, but I think Cole and King were saying basically this. They were basically saying the same. JBL's like, this is despicable. They got to get him out of here. This pay's unhinged. I think it was King. King was like, Rollins issued an open challenge for anybody to come down here to come down here. John. I mean, Dean Ambrose accepted the challenge. What's the problem?
Yeah, which I made the comment when they asked that. I made the comment of A, heels defy logic, and B, he issued an open challenge for a match. Dean Ambrose came out, assaulted him through the crowd and through the areas. That wasn't a match. He was after a assault. It's technically slightly different. He didn't come out, shake his hand, and offer a match. He came out there and assaulted him through the crowd, and shit where a match wouldn't go.
Which kind of pissed me off, because I want to see those two actually wrestle. Throughout this entire damn thing these two have had, except for like all of 2 minutes during the Lumberjack match, these two have never actually got an opportunity to wrestle, which I think would be a really good wrestling match.
Maybe he'll take part in the next pay-per-view. Maybe he'll be inside Hell in a Cell.
There you go.
Sponsored by Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, exactly. The Turtles will be there. So, yeah, overall, it was a good segment. It got Ambrose back, which I think everybody kind of never knew was going to happen. And I think Reigns not being there kind of served the purpose. Otherwise, I'm sure he probably would have just shown up at the end of the match.
Yeah, to be fair, that's exactly the thing I mentioned to Marcus a couple of weeks the other day. The second it was announced Roman Reigns wasn't going to make it, I was like, Dean Ambrose is going to show up to replace him.
Yep. So, that was a no contest and went nowhere. Because the match didn't even technically start. So
how did they handcuff him with?
I think Triple H brought out one of those zip tie things that they use to bind people.
Yeah, that seemed really weird, because instead of handcuffs like they've used in every WWE fake police incident yet, it looked like basically Dean Ambrose's hands were tied together with the cheap, shitty bit of plastic that ties action figures to the box that makes you wonder, why the fuck is this being given to a 3-year-old when they have to inevitably hand it to the adult to pull out a Stanley knife or some sort of sharp object, open up the toy, and hand it back to the child to play with? After they've checked the box to see if batteries are actually included. It's also possible this rant is also going on about something which has annoyed me recently with one of the Power Ranger Morphers being locked to the box for my nephew in plastic, tied to the fucking box in a way he could not open unless he had a knife.
Oh, are you talking about the newest one?
Or
the card one?
It may have been the newest. I think it was the new one. The Super Mega Force one.
The key one. Yeah, I had the same problem. That box was a piece of shit. But anyway,
that's how all action toys are nowadays, and it just annoys me because they're meant to be for 3 or 4-year-olds. So basically, you have to hand it to the kid. The kid goes, "That's nice. Now open it." Come on, Pez. Come on, slave. Open my box.
I think the general assumption is, well, the parents are going to have to pay for it, so it's going to be in their hands before they give it to the kids anyway.
No, I think it's more there for security because, let's face it, if they were secured by something that even a 3-year-old could open, there'd be a lot more theft.
Yeah, they'd steal it.
As someone who works in retail, I can tell you that is true, because the stuff that we have is not really secured and it gets stolen.
Oh, like I said, I understand it's there for security purposes. However, like I said, I assume Richter will have the same problem, as I know he's a dad, so obviously he bought loads of presents for kids. Some of that packaging on kids stuff is ironically more compact than it is on adult products. Like, I'm sorry, my PlayStation 4 had less packaging and security stuff I had to knife open than a Power Ranger figure.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but your PlayStation 4 was also locked in a fucking metal cage that only the person in charge of the store had the key to, whereas the Power Ranger figure was sitting on a shelf that any 3-year-old could get their hands on.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but you've also missed the point of, I'm talking about a consumer purchasing the product for a kid, and when you give it to a kid, and it's the same with WWE products too, and it's not just Power Rangers, with a load of them where the packaging is like the worst packaging I've seen on anything, and I've been like, what the fuck is this?
And like I said, I think it's mostly because of the security aspect. Like I said, most of the quote adult unquote stuff that you're talking about, like a lot of the high tech stuff, most of that stuff is kept securely locked in a fucking cage. So therefore, the security in the packaging itself doesn't necessarily need to be security in the packaging. Whereas like toys and shit that are out on the sales floor, they have to be secured in there. And then that's not to say that packaging really stops thievery. It deters it, and it makes it harder, and that's the reason they do it, I think. Yeah, and because it's out on the floor, it has to be
guys, this is a Night of Champions, not the toy review. We'll do that in another video. Moving along.
It's also not the internet discussion, but we still had that.
That's true. But anyway, moving back into the card, we had Mark Henry versus Rusev. Mark Henry came out in a lovely red, white, and blue onesie unitard.
Given to him by Big Show.
Yeah,
Given him by Big Show.
He was completely ignored the promo where Big Show gave it to him.
You're right, we did. Big Show gave
He
him
doesn't
that.
validate any big bald guys, Mole.
No, he doesn't. He's barely validating Mark Henry.
I'm sorry, I picked up the habit from watching Ryback too long. I had to keep it validating him, and it just kind of rubbed off.
To be fair, I don't validate Mark Henry that much.
Richter, are you gonna take that? Jim is now equating you to Ryback. Don't take that. Dude.
In all fairness, I don't think WWE validates Mark Henry that much.
In all fairness, I have said feed me more, so maybe.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Anyway, so Mark Henry and Big Show gave him a nice unitard, and they had a nice speech where Big Show told Mark Henry, give him a nice prep talk, to go out there, go out there, take him down, do what you do, and Mark is like, I will, 'cause that's what I do.
Also, Big Show's a liar. Because Big Show distinctively said...
Well, of course he's a liar. He told us Knucklehead was going to be a funny movie.
Hey,
But he distinctly said, don't worry, man, I got your back. And then cut to him being on the panel. It's like, yes, you got his back from all the way up into 300 level in the way fucking back where you're sitting at a table in a suit. Yeah, you really have his back, dude.
I would argue, did anyone at all run out and interfere or beat down Mark Henry?
No.
No.
He did his job.
Yeah.
That is true. So Mark Henry came out in his lovely red, white, and blue style little unitard thing that Big Show gave him. They had a nice big promo going on. He got in the ring, and Lillian Garcia got in the ring and sang the national anthem while Mark Henry cried. Which, yeah, that was weird.
I mentioned to Marcus at that point, can we stop finding excuses for Lillian Garcia to sing? We're not going to be purchasing her CD. Move the fuck on.
Yeah.
And I also made the joke to Marcus as well when Mark Henry was crying. I said, is he actually crying because either A, the songs made him emotional? I'm going to throw in an extra one from what I actually typed to Marcus. B, was he crying because the song was that terrible? Or C, and this isn't the one I added, the C is he crying because he's made, or is he not crying? So is he melting because he's made of chocolate?
Yeah.
Which
I just laughed. Sexual.
Yeah, pretty much. So, Rusev and Lana came out and they had their match, and it was okay for a couple of big guys.
Standard big guy match.
Yeah.
Henry gets the small of his back tossed into steel steps. Henry loses, moving on.
Yeah, I was gonna think Rusev ended up on most of the match was Rusev on the wrong end of a one-sided beatdown. Until eventually he bashes Henry into the ring, steps outside the ring and takes control, dominates. He can't quite get the finisher locked in because Henry's arms are too big. But then he does when he tries it a second time, and Henry taps out.
Yeah, but this was also a good matchup in terms of story while the pacing was off. Because this matchup was Mark Henry as the American chosen one. He got the big song and stuff like that. The only thing, and then basically he was dominating the matchup, and then Rusev managed to overcome it and prove that maybe actually this Russian dominator can actually overcome all these American heroes that you throw at him. Maybe he's not just a little piss in the wind or a fluke or something like that. Maybe he's actually earned his moment, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I still think the end of this matchup should have been, as we joked about when we were watching it, and I hate to say it, but think about it. Black guy, overly patriotic entrance against a Russian. This is where the Russian should have killed Mark Henry, so you can have Big Show avenging his friend, who, if he dies, he dies.
He dies.
And be honest, Rick, if Mark Henry had come out in the Uncle Sam outfit as Lindley and was singing, that would have made the moment.
Yeah. I think I would have put down $9.99 just to rewatch that.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
Worth it. All right, then. So, that match happened. Rusev won with the submission hold, so he is still, for the most part, undefeated.
So is Bo Dallas going to start heckling Mark Henry for letting down America?
He might. He might. So the next match on the card was my favorite match of the night. Not just because of him wrestlers in it, but because these two guys put on a clinic, and it was a great match. It was Chris Jericho versus Randy Orton. They went back and forth. They were throwing blows. They were going back and forth in submission holds and mat technical wrestling. Jericho was throwing himself off of ropes. Orton was slinking around. It was a great match. The match ended after going back and forth, and Jericho being in control. It ended when Orton managed to
Catch RKO.
he managed to get out of the walls, toss Jericho through the ropes, and then managed to jump up and impact DDT him. At which point he kind of took control, and as Jericho went out the top, he got nailed with an RKO. Well, actually, no, the first thing that happened, because it was really great back and forth, because they played possum on each other. Because the first thing that happened was that Jericho was down in the corner from the DDT and rolling on the mat, and Orton kind of looked at him and was like, ooh. And it's like he started coiling up for the RKO. And he's like, he's waiting for Jericho to get, but Jericho's stumbling, he turns around. And then Jericho turns around, runs at him, and code breaks him out of nowhere. He was playing possum, gets a near fall. Orton, like I said, takes it. They got up, they went for the walls. He kicked out of it. Jericho flew out of the ring. And so he managed to, Jericho got back in the ring and managed to take Orton down. And Jericho went to the top. And when Jericho was sitting on top waiting for Orton to get up, and Orton was stuttering, he turned around, waiting to get up. And then as soon as Jericho jumped, boom, RKO. And he was playing possum, too. They were playing possum on each other, going back and forth. I mean, they were matching each other move for move in this match. It was a great back and forth match.
Yep. I thought the matchup was a great matchup in terms of quality. I only had two problems with the matchup.
Mm-hmm.
One's just a small nitpick, but as I mentioned to Marcus, why does the Authority never bother coming to ringside for Randy Orton like they do for Seth Rollins? Why are they treating Randy Orton like the bastard ginger stepchild?
Because Seth Rollins is the future, and Randy Orton, as was mentioned prior in the promo on the Peep Show, Randy Orton is nothing but the Authority's stooge. He has never been his own man, as opposed to Jericho, who has been his own man. And Triple H knows Randy Orton's a stooge, and therefore doesn't care about him because he's just a stooge. He's just there. Seth Rollins is our Mr. Money in the Bank. He's our future champion. He's the guy that's going to lead us in the future. We have to care about him.
Yeah, but it seems weird because they even came out and helped Kane. The Authority have helped every member of the Authority except for Randy Orton. Recently, they've just not been helping him, which is weird. It's just weird to me. And the second thing I had a problem with was when Jericho climbed up the top rope to jump off for the RKO, Rick.
Mm-hmm.
He was at first, if he'd just gone up there and jumped, fair enough, RKO, same setup as usual and stuff like that. But he was up there long enough for us to have a conversation about how glaringly obvious it was there was going to be a catch RKO.
Yeah, he was standing up there for several long minutes, at which point he was screaming, "Get up, Orton! Come on, get up! Come on, Orton, get up!"
Yeah, which it kind of ruined part of the matchup because that was too obvious what was about to happen. And considering we've seen like the Code Breaker and stuff come out of nowhere and all this, the fact the ending was so obvious that you could see it coming a mile away kind of changed what it was. It's like, okay, a matchup of all surprises, then glaringly obvious setup. Come on, just fucking do this already. I'm bored of watching you stand there while it's obvious Orton's about to RKO you. What the fuck?
I feel like that had to be Orton's fault, because I think Jericho got up there, and I think Orton didn't realize Jericho was up there, or he missed a cue or something. I think Orton just took way too damn long to get up, I think was the problem.
It doesn't matter whose fault it is. The fact of the matter is it happened, and it kind of sucked. I loved Jericho's run-in with the Code Breaker, because that literally came out of nowhere. I was not expecting that. But like the instant Jericho even went to make his way up to get on top of the turnbuckle, I was like, oh god, he's going to catch RKO and win, isn't he? And then 5 minutes later, that's exactly what happened. And it disappointed me. To me, it felt like it made Jericho weak, because he code broke him, and then only got a 2-fall. Orton hits the RKO once and wins. I'm like, bullshit.
Yes, but the Code Breaker was just a standard Code Breaker. The RKO was a catch finisher, which, as we know from WWE 2K14 and other games, is much stronger than a regular ground finisher.
Yeah, it was a catch finisher, so he had the impact of falling from however high he jumped. so it was more of an impact,
Yeah.
and which was like But like I said, yeah, the part where he climbed up the turnbuckle, I didn't have a problem with him climbing up and jumping off because. Well, there was an element of he's going to be he's going to get RKO'd the second he was climbing up. However, there was enough doubt because in his recent matches, like with Bray Wyatt and stuff, we've seen him jump off shit. I'm like, there was enough element there of okay, he might jump off this and hit him with another move. Because Jericho recently, whenever he's gone full out, like he wants to show this matchup is devastating, has jumped off shit.
Yeah.
And then they ruined it with how long he was up there.
Yeah. Pretty
Yeah.
much. Fair enough. So
yeah, I
after
thought the
this,
match was good.
yeah, it was my favorite match of the night. I thought they had a great aside from that little ending. They had a great back and forth pace in the match. They mentioned the move, and they told a story in the ring. They built it up, and you cared who was going to win this match because it was obvious that they cared which one of them was going to win the match because there was nothing at stake. So they just had to build it as this is a great competitive match for bragging rights. It wasn't for a title or for anything like that. It's just this is a great one-on-one match, and they made, despite the fact that it had nothing on the line, they made me care about that match.
Are you
Yeah,
sure it
well, I
wasn't
will
just
say-
because Jericho was one of the competitors?
No, it's because both of them were great in the ring. I was really loving what Orton was doing too. I thought Orton was great, better than I've seen him in the ring in quite a while. Maybe it's because Jericho was making him look good. I don't know, but it was a great match.
Yeah, I was going to say, part of me also thought with the fact everyone says Jericho's meant to be going away now, the matchup probably should have ended with something where, in my opinion, the matchup should have ended where they'd beaten each other down, they were barely able to stand up, Jericho's trying to get to his feet, and even though they teased this during the match, punt him. 1, 2, 3, Jericho's out with concussion or whatever after the punt's that devastating or whatever, instead of what happened, because there's no reason Jericho won't be on Raw. I don't see a reason why he wouldn't be on Raw after that.
Yeah.
Maybe he's staying a little longer than planned. I don't know.
Yeah, and if they really write him out on Raw, like have the Wyatts take him out or have Orton take him out or anyone take him out on Raw, it's going to seem kind of shitty because you had a moment. You had a moment to do it.
True, but I believe in all fairness, if I'm not mistaken, every single time that Jericho has left to go on tour, it's always been at Raw. It has never been at a pay-per-view.
It has, but it's usually last time it was a out of nowhere you're fired match, which was shit. I think it was the time before that he was punted, which that one made sense. I just don't want it to be one out of nowhere.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And after how close their matchup was, I kind of felt it should be sort of like the women's matchup you saw at NXT when you watched TakeOver. That Jericho should have earned Orton's respect in that matchup of how close and what the story they told, to the point where he's not just going to sneak attack him on Raw and beat him up to impress Triple H to get a few brownie points, while Triple H gives him a doggy treat and goes, "Who's a good Orton? Who's a good little viper?"
Yep. Yes, that was the other thing that Jericho threw out during his promo on the pre-show. Is he ran off a list of snake puns.
I didn't do a snake pun.
No, I'm just you were mentioning the viper, though. That reminded me. He's saying I'm the cobra killer, I'm the rattlesnake this, I'm the this, the that, the that. You have a whole list of different breeds of snakes, and that he was like the anti of that snake or whatever. It was kind of.
I'm gonna say he's the Cobra Killer. After how long since the Santino's had to retire due to injury? A little inappropriate, don't you
Yeah,
think?
too soon. But the rattlesnake wrangler and a few other things, he threw a bunch of alliteration things out like that.
He
But
did,
anyway,
he did beat the Rattlesnake and the Tooth Fairy in the same night. Give him
That's
props
true.
for that.
That's true. Moving along, after this match, we had the WWE Divas Championship match, where AJ Lee and Nikki Bella challenged the champion Paige in a triple threat match, which was rather short and not very good.
I thought it was pretty good. They
the
showed
match
off
was
some
good.
technical skill.
How can you say a match wasn't good when you didn't see it?
Because you made it sound like it wasn't that good. I did not see the Divas match. I missed the Divas match.
Did you just tell everyone this matchup was shit without actually experiencing it?
Yes, he did.
I was going by what Marcus told me.
I never said it was bad. I liked the match.
He said, "Oh my God, this was terrible. They made Paige look like shit. AJ won for no reason. This was horrible."
Yeah,
That's what I said. I said I was disappointed that Paige lost, and I felt they made Paige look weak, but I didn't say the match was bad.
See, I'm gonna say I don't think they made Paige look weak. However, I don't think AJ should have been champion. When AJ won, I'm like, oh god, it's gonna go back to the status quo of everything revolves around AJ. Fuck that. However, because we've had some great matchups when other people get a chance in there. Like I would have been fine if Nikki had took the belt and stuff
Yeah.
like that. That'd been cool. I don't think they made Paige look weak because during the matchup, every chance they got, the other two would double team her and get her out the ring like she was the strong one and would start fighting each other.
Yeah, but there were moments where she was actually in the ring one-on-one with someone, and not once throughout the match did she go for either of her finishing moves. AJ locked in the Black Widow twice, once on each of the Divas, and Nikki actually hit her fucking torture rack thing once. Paige was the only one who didn't even get a chance to even try her finishing move, which I was like, that's kind of bullshit.
Doesn't that make her look strong? Because also, arguably, she's the only person that didn't have one of her finishing moves get kicked out or broken up or reversed or fail.
Yes and no, because I would have been okay with, like, say for instance, let's say she hits the that DDT, the Rampage. Like, let's say she hits it on AJ, and then Nikki comes in and grabs Paige and tosses her out the ring. I would have been fine with that. But the fact that they didn't even have her go for either her finishing moves at all, I'm just like, wait. So you just told her to basically fucking roll. You told her to do nothing in this match. That's brilliant.
She did some good moves. She just didn't do a finishing move. Well,
Which made it feel like she wasn't actually trying. At least that's what it felt like to me. When the other competitors in the match not only try their finishing moves, but actually connect, and again, in AJ's case, more than once, and you don't, to me, that feels like you're not even trying. You're not taking the match seriously, which I'm like, fuck off with that.
Yeah, but to be fair, out of the people in the ring, she was the one with the most different moves that she actually used. It's
True.
like the others only had their finishing moves, and while they still had some technical bits, like I'm sorry, Nikki v AJ, as much as I don't like AJ, was actually kind of cool. I just didn't agree with putting the title on AJ. I thought the matchup, it was a pretty damn good match. I liked it.
Yeah,
the ending, I didn't like who won, but that doesn't make the matchup to me shit or whatever Jim said. I thought it was pretty damn good.
Yeah, and like I said, I never said the match was bad. I enjoyed the match, like you said, Mole. They put on some good spots. They showed some technicality, and I have to give AJ props. Aside from the fact that I still don't like how she runs against the ring because she barely touches it. She actually looks semi-decent out there. Like I said, the only thing I didn't like, again, in my opinion, was the fact that they made Paige look weak. But aside from that, I'm like, match was a solid match, especially for a Divas match. Not the only one, but especially for a Divas match. That was a pretty good match.
Which works. Can you do me a favor in the future, Marcus? Next time there's a triple threat match like this, and Jim hadn't seen it because he went first with his opinion based on what you said, can you just start screaming and raging and stuff about the fact you can't believe that the matchup seemed to go so well, then they threw the other person out the ring and they finger poked to Doom it. What the fuck? And then sit back and watch as Jim starts telling us how bullshit the finger poke of Doom moment in the matchup was.
I will make a note of that.
Thank you. Or possible Goldberg interference if it's a male match.
Fair enough.
And I'm gonna laugh when you do it because Jim can listen right now and he can hear us. Jim's gonna be like, Goldberg didn't interfere, and ironically he's gonna be like, well, I know what didn't happen. This Goldberg didn't interfere like Marcus was saying. Turns out Goldberg did interfere.
That was the ironic part.
Whoa, Jim, turn your microphone down. You sound far away.
Sorry. Anyway, so after the Divas match in which AJ won, we go on to our main event of the evening for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. John Cena versus the 1 in 21-1, the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar.
I actually like this match.
And it was a good match.
I will say I loved the promo beforehand with Brock speaking on his own. Because I'm sorry, Brock used to be kind of terrible at promos on his own, hence why they gave him Paul Heyman. However, if he sits down and he just talks normally to the camera like he did for this promo, you get a very legitimate fighter-like promo, like when he had to talk for himself in UFC and stuff. So I'm like, I kind of bought him in that moment, if that makes sense. He did a good job. Although I will make a comment. I did make a joke when I was watching that.
Okay.
Paul Heyman says, because they show highlights during the build-up, and it's like Paul Heyman says to Cena, in order to beat the Beast, you're going to have to become the Beast. And I made the joke when we were watching that, that's just not true at all. And Chris was like, what do you mean? I'm like, did you not watch King Kong? What needs to happen is John Cena needs to put on a wig, some makeup, and a dress, because it's beauty that kills the Beast.
Ha!
And I really wanted him to put on a dress and a wig and lipstick. In a Bugs Bunny-like moment, I wanted Brock to believe it. And I wanted Cena to like have a fan in front of his face and be like, and then as Brock gets close, boom, AA.
There you go. But yeah, I like this match. For once, Brock actually showed technicality that we know he's got, because NCAA wrestling champion, hello, he actually has to have some skill to get that. But
And because multi-time UFC champion.
To be fair, he used to have skill to do that. And also with the UFC thing, the reason he came back to WWE was he was too ill to do the UFC thing, which means his technical limitations have probably been halved. He's probably not as technical as he once was. And I doubt he can actually go like he used to. Like, I don't see him moonsaulting or anything like that anytime soon. I'm not talking about the time he got it right. I'm talking about the time he got it right. But I don't see him doing many of the as much technical stuff as he used to, because now he's using, to his advantage, his reputation of being a big brawler, and I think that's his strength now.
yeah, but just with this match, it really amazed me how fast he was. I knew he was quick, but still, to actually see a dude of his size move at the speed and in the way that he moved, I have to admit I was impressed. I was like, wow.
I'm gonna say this was probably the slowest match ever in WWE, but your network glitches meant as it tried to catch back up, it sped it up. No, I'm kidding, but that'd be fucking hilarious.
Yeah. But no, he did slow down. I'll give you that, because he was trying to be all cocky and stuff, and kind of measuring John Cena up and like toying with him and stuff. But when they actually locked up, man, oh my God, Brock was fast. I was like, wow. It just, like I said, some of his counters, I was just like, okay, I'm impressed now. Did not see that coming from Brock Lesnar.
I will say the ending to this match was bullshit, but we'll probably get on that later. However, as a matchup, I thought this was a great matchup. I thought it did tell the story well. It was faster than usual, like Marcus said, and I also thought, Rick, they did a great job doing something I've not seen WWE be able to successfully pull off for a while.
Mm-hmm.
This matchup, this was the type of Cena I like to see. I actually like to see this Cena, where he's now doing the Brock Lesnar, like like at one point he just throws him into the corner and starts to do the quick punches, almost Undertaker or fighter style, of like boom, 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 and then those two went at it like that, and it didn't feel like a wrestling match. This felt like an actual brawl. Like these two wanted to kill each other. Without having to go to the length some people have had to do to get that result of like curb stomping through bricks that Kane conveniently planted at ringside. It's more of a case of they were actually able to tell the story of Cena's unleashed, if you will, against this beast and stuff like that. And I thought the matchup was kind of good for what we got. And as I mentioned to someone else, I love the fact we don't get Brock every week on Raw.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know some people have complained about that, but like I mentioned, watch boxing or watch UFC, you don't see the world champion at every single event. And the fact you don't means that it builds up to the main event or the pay-per-view where you will see this champion. And that makes you want to see him. Like, if Cena was champion right now and they didn't use Cena on TV, it would still feel as good. Or whoever was champion, because I kind of like that aspect of keep the champion off and just use the champion for the main events in which he needs. Makes it feel more, for lack of a better term, and not just because Brock himself said this a while back when he returned, but it made it feel more legitimate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
will also say one thing to me that really sold the match was Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman and placing of the camera, because smartly, they used the camera guy that was on the side of the ring opposite of Paul Heyman. So the camera, well, for at least for most of like the wide angle stuff. So basically, for about 80% of the match, the camera was basically staring right at Paul Heyman's face. And this is one thing Paul Heyman has always been very good at. He sold the match like fuck. If you just watch his facial expressions, like when Brock was on the offensive, he'd have that creepy stalker grin. But then when Cena was beating his ass, Paul Heyman would bring his hands up and go like Gendo Ikari. But then you look at his eyes, and he does this thing very well where he has this. His eyes go wide, and you buy that Paul Heyman is thinking, "Oh shit, Brock might actually lose this."
Yep, which I thought
And that
was
goes
awesome.
a long way to actually selling the match.
It
Yep.
does. It
Like
does.
I said, I thought that was pretty awesome, and I realized I think me and Marcus may have stepped on Jim a little bit, so over to Jim.
Well, I was just going to add that I agree, and I think that in terms of the speed of Brock Lesnar, that's what's always been talked about as what makes him such a threat in UFC. And it's like that not only is he a big guy that's going to just take you down and punch you in the face really till you submit, but he can run right at you and get you down, and you're not going to get away because he is that fast. And most guys his size are not that fast. And that's something that's always been talked about in UFC is his speed and combined with his power. He's always been known for that. And that's why I think it's good to see that see him using that in this kind of match against John Cena, which I think, if he wasn't going to be a straight up beatdown like the last one, he kind of needed that. At the same time, he demonstrated the proper power. And, it was a good balance of different, wrestling styles. I think worked well for both Cena and Lesnar to keep the match interesting and make sure people were, make sure it looked like a legitimate, these guys are throwing everything they have at each other fight. Also, I just want to add, as much as it would have made no goddamn sense, am I the only one that was hoping after he did the Three Amigos, he would just point this going, like, that's for you, Eddie!
Yeah, but I will also say, I will say, I don't think Brock is as threatening or intimidating in UFC as people think, or at least wrestling fans think, because the general consensus that I see from people, and I kind of agree with this when I watch UFC, when I've seen UFC and stuff, is Brock seemed to be positioned perfectly with the right challenges that he would overcome right at the time where Brock was going to give UFC more popularity and more fame and more money. And then the second he went against someone that people saw as an actual, genuinely contender, you got his ass kicked.
Am I the only one who was a little surprised by the fact that Triple H actually allowed John Cena to look stronger than him? Like, a lot stronger than him?
I'm going to say Triple H didn't.
I would say he did, because at least I think it was the first match he had with Brock, because I think Triple H won the second match, if I recall. But in the first match he had with Brock put on the Kimura lock, and it was either like almost instantly the first time he put the lock on, or the second time he put it on, he, quote, broke Triple H's arm, unquote. But again, Cena, he put the Kimura lock on like 3 or 4 times, and Cena's arm still isn't broken. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
True, although you could also argue the first match Brock went against Triple H, he didn't destroy him and completely desecrate him the way he did Cena.
Yeah.
No, but I'm just saying I find it a little odd that Triple H would allow Brock to put the Kimura lock on Cena like 4 times and not have Cena's arm completely fucking broken by the third appliance.
I can, because that happened.
Yeah.
It's like Triple H tapped out to Hell's Gate. Brock Lesnar got out of Hell's Gate and ended the streak that Triple H had 3 attempts at. In terms of business, Triple H doesn't look weaker in comparison. It's just a case of either certain moves are nerfed for convenience, or basically, it's wrestling, so that happens. Like 1 week, Brock will beat Cena, but then the next week, Brock could lose to, I don't know, Brock could lose to Rey Mysterio, or Brock could lose to, Dolph Ziggler, and we know Dolph Ziggler isn't better than Cena. It's like you can never make that connection in WWE, because that's like, what? Like, Brock Lesnar beat Brock Lesnar beat The Undertaker. The Undertaker lost to Heidenreich. Heidenreich was successful in staying in an arena with Michael Cole for a long period of time without Michael Cole having to be stretchered off. Ergo, Michael Cole is stronger than Brock Lesnar.
Oh, okay then.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. You can't
Fair
follow
enough.
in WWE. You can't follow the train of logic. Sadly, in situations like that, because they make it up as they go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other comment I would make is Triple H had his arm broken over 3 months ago. It never happened.
That's true. That's true.
Touche.
But no, yeah, it did
Yeah.
seem silly how long he had it on for.
Yeah, also, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, I could have sworn that Triple H only had 2 matches at WrestleMania. I don't know what you're talking about.
Nope, they've successfully said 3 now.
Oh, did they say it? Okay.
They have. It's on the Streak documentary.
Oh,
But
fair
yeah.
enough.
But
Anyway,
I
why
will-
don't we? Yeah, let's move on. Talk about the
I will
ending of this
say,
match here.
I'm talking about the match, but I was saying, yeah, I will say it did seem a little weird when he put on so many Kimura locks. I will say that, Marcus. It did seem weird. It's like, who remembers when Undertaker first started to do Hell's Gate?
Mm-hmm.
I found it weird as fuck the first time he did it and the person wasn't bleeding from the inside of their throat. If you remember that, where every time he locked it on, the person would suddenly start spitting out blood.
Yeah.
God, I wish that was a feature. I wish that was a feature in the WWE games. God, I wish that was a feature. That'd be so hilarious. First blood match. Knock Marcus to the floor. Signature. He spits out blood. No, that's cheating. You have an instant blood move.
Aha.
Or he could work the other way around. He goes, spits, and it goes in my face when the ref was knocked out. Ref gets up, sees me covered in blood, rings the bell. Marcus wins. What the fuck? That's not my blood.
That would be good. That would be good.
But yes,
As long
the
as you
ending
can
of the
change
match.
the color of the green spit too, so you could cheat that.
Yes.
Yeah, that
That'd
is
be awesome.
red
The
mist.
green mist.
Yeah. Or if you're playing as Simon, the white mist.
That's something else entirely.
Oh yeah.
He was sucking something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That deals with the
Anyway.
pipes and the pumping from earlier.
Yeah, it does. But anyway, Rick, did you want to comment on the match before we move on to the ending of the match?
Sounded pretty good. I will definitely agree that Paul Heyman has great facial expressions, so it sounds. I'm betting it was not a coincidence that they had him there
Yeah.
selling it.
Probably not. So we get to the end of the match, and at the end of the match, we come down to John Cena putting Brock Lesnar in an STF
For 5 straight minutes. As
for
the
about
commentator
five
pointed out.
5 straight minutes in the center of the ring. And Brock refusing to tap out to the move, and building up as, is Brock going to tap? Is Brock going to tap? Is Brock going to tap for 5 minutes?
And then they did the double turn.
Until Seth Rollins runs out and smack John Cena in the back of the head with a briefcase.
Okay, not a double turn.
No, you forgot the part where Cena, getting fed up with the fact that Brock's not tapping, decides to AA him for the 4th time in that match.
Yeah, and go for the pin.
Go for the pin,
Yeah.
and then Rollins comes out and whacks him with
Okay,
the
well, I thought he
briefcase.
hit him in the ass. Fair enough. So Rollins whacked him with the briefcase, which led to an immediately DQ. He then smacked Cena in the face with it again and knocked him out of the ring. Then proceeded to hit Brock in the face with it as he got up.
No,
And then
he
went to
used the curb stomp.
Yeah, he did. He curb stomped Brock as Brock was gonna get up.
Okay, he curb stomped as he was getting up. Then he ran out, cashed in the briefcase, and jumped in the ring. Went to go jump in the ring, only for Cena to attack him outside the ring and throw him into the ring, and then back out the other side. So since the bell never rang, it wasn't a cash-in.
Yeah, which I had some problems with this.
And I should just mention that as Rollins was then retreating up the ramp and Cena was talking trash to him, he then turned around and promptly ate an F5.
Yes, but as I was saying, I had some problems with this, Rick.
I think we all did.
And they were as follows.
In order.
Number 1, Seth Rollins cashed in Money in Bank. He said, cash it in. When I'm in the ring, cash it in. I'm sorry, the second Cena put him into the ring, that bell should have rang.
Yes, it should have.
That should be how it works. But
Yes.
there's that. B, we got told throughout the night, because they hyped up the next pay-per-view, and the wrestlers know what this is. What is it?
You can't say one and then B.
Yeah, okay, whatever. you can't keep interrupting people. But yeah, I was saying, so I did one. So B, it was a case of basically you can't do that with the whole thing of they built up the pay-per-view of what next month's pay-per-view was, Rick.
Mm-hmm.
Hell in a Cell. So we're supposed to believe Seth Rollins, the guy that likes to run away from a fight, would want to challenge Brock Lesnar, who, as Cena argued on Raw, can successfully sue if he doesn't get his rematch, and be locked inside a Hell in a Cell with him. Really? And third thing is, why the fuck did Cena stop him? I understand Cena was mad, but why the hell did Cena save Brock's title? There was just no need.
Because he wants to defeat Brock. He doesn't want to defeat Rollins. He knows he can destroy Rollins. He wants to beat Brock.
Yeah, but it's still, those three things just felt a little odd. Although I will say, this was the part I thought Paul Heyman was selling the best facial expressions. I may not be a massive Paul Heyman fan, however, the second Seth Rollins did this and was cashing in on Brock and even did the curb stomp, Paul Heyman, his look, as I pointed out to Chris, who was watching, it was the same thing. I was saying, what the fuck? Are you stupid? His facial expression was like, really? You're going to try and take out Brock Lesnar? Really? What the fuck? Are you stupid? And I was like, I felt that. I felt this. It ruined the match. It ruined the ending. However, that's storyline-wise, Rick. I imagine the others, practical-wise, for real-life implications, Brock Cena feels like that could end inside Hell in a Cell because the first match, Brock looked dominant. The second match, Cena looked dominant. Third match, Hell in a Cell. That's what Hell in a Cell is supposed to be. I would have hated it if Brock had won, ended it like that, and then moved the fuck on for the next month and just built up for like a month a Hell in a Cell feud. No, I don't want that. But that was my thoughts.
Well, I did have one other issue with it, which Mole and I discussed at length following the pay-per-view, and we slightly disagree on. When Cena had Brock locked in the STF, Brock managed to somehow crawl to the ropes, and then Cena released it, pulled him back into the center of the ring. He did this 3 times before saying, fuck it, AA, and then getting promptly smacked across the head by Seth Rollins. And the problem I had with it was that, as Mole pointed out, Brock is supposed to be weakened at this point, which is fair enough. But I felt, because of his positioning in the ring, and because they had made Brock out the entire match to be this guy who's got this great ring presence, because the part of why I loved what Brock did in this match is because it seemed like he was ever present of where he was in the ring and using his position in the ring to his advantage. And the fact of the matter is, when Brock was locked into that STF, the ropes to his left were a lot closer than the ropes in front of him. And I felt, and especially after seeing Brock manage to basically pick his torso up and crawl away for at least a foot 3 times, I was like, okay, so the first time, why didn't he just roll on his back and roll toward the side? Because A, that would have put him into a position where he could have possibly busted out, because once he's on his back, he can start throwing elbows and shit. Yeah, Cena could have rolled back over. That's always a possibility, but he would have had that going for him. And then if he really felt he couldn't do that, he could just keep on rolling, and once he rolled back onto his stomach, boom, he was right next to the ropes.
Yeah, my
It
case
just didn't
with
make
that.
sense to me for him to crawl.
Yeah, see, my case with that was, like I mentioned, they built this all like a legitimate fight. If you've seen UFC or any MMO, you know if you're in a hold, you want to get out of it as fast as possible, and in the way with the minimum amount of risks. With how Cena had been matching Brock in terms of grapples and stuff like that, being in that hold, getting the ropes, just going forward, getting the ropes, you're guaranteed a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if he doesn't pull you off, and you're going to be let go. Rolling over, you run the risk of either rolling over into a position that your opponent could capitalize on and make worse, or B, your opponent, you're trying to roll over and using what strength you have, and your opponent just pushes back down and stops you going anywhere. Almost an instant tap out. It made sense in terms of the mindset of an actual fighter, so I thought it worked.
See, I don't know, just to me, it felt weird, like I said, with how they were building up Brock, and the fact that Brock was so much larger than Cena and stronger than Cena that I was just like, it didn't make sense to me that he would try to crawl all that distance. If he was closer, if the ropes in front of him were closer, then I could kind of see that, but given the distance, I was like, that seemed like a waste of energy to me, but I mean, I'm not a fighter, I don't follow UFC, so, you know.
Yeah, but with his size as well, he's also locked in the move more because his arm width is longer, and that's within Cena's arm. or within Cena's legs, he stands more chance to pop his shoulder or something like that because of the size of his arm, if that makes sense. Because like someone like Ray, I could see rolling him over because Ray's got more smallness to maneuver, if that makes sense, whereas Brock's bulkiness could actually hurt him in that situation. But that's my thoughts. I don't know what Jim thinks.
Yeah. Or Richter.
Well, like I was saying, personally, I think you make a valid point, but like I was saying, I think Brock, being the kind of guy he is in the ring, I think he analyzed the situation, and he felt that he was going to be better off trying to reach the ropes rather than trying to roll out of it. It's simply for the reason of, he probably thought that if he tried to roll out of it, he might not be able to. He might not have been sure he was going to be able to, or he might have thought that rolling onto his back would have given Cena a different advantage, potentially to get a pinfall or to apply something else. So he probably thought it was better off to just try to break the hold altogether than it was to try and roll Cena over or to try to fight out, which might have exerted more energy than just pulling to the ropes.
Well, the other thing is, if he rolls onto his back, it would all but guarantee Cena breaking the hold, because once Cena's on his back, that would constitute a pinfall on Cena.
True.
Cena would have no choice but to break the hold to avoid getting counted 3.
But the way his arm is positioned in that move, if he rolls him onto his back, it's easier for Cena to just get his shoulder up and just keep the pin off and keep the submission on.
Yeah,
Example, if you ever watched, for example, Taz, whenever Taz did the Taz mission, it never counted as a pin when he was on his back doing it, because, his shoulders were up slightly enough.
Mm-hmm.
But based on the fact Cena's supposed to be a submission expert, as much as we hate that, that was the situation. That was the situation Reed and I got. And I also do want Richter's opinion as well, Marcus. But I was going with Jim first because I know Jim had seen it. So I was wondering what Jim felt about reading it in the situation before, like we'd done for all the other stuff. But
yeah, and I also
based on the information we'd given him.
Well, one second. I just want to mention that you make a valid point of that, because we saw the same thing happen earlier, and I believe it was the Sheamus Cesaro match, where Sheamus had picked Cesaro or Cesaro had he tried to pull Sheamus down or Sheamus tried to pull Cesaro into a roll up or something, but because he had him applied in like a headlock or something, maybe it was when Ziggler had missed the headlock. I don't remember. Now who had who? No, Cesaro had Sheamus in a headlock, and he took him down with the headlock, and he tried to apply to put Sheamus down for a pinfall, but because his arm was underneath Sheamus' head for the headlock, his arm was holding Sheamus' shoulders off the mat, and the ref told him to put his hand and told him, no, his shoulders aren't on the mat. Same basic thing.
Fair enough. Oh, what does Rick think based on what we've told him?
Okay, let me ask real quick. Was the 5 minutes he was in the hold, at least was it entertaining? Because that sounds really actually kind of annoying.
It was. I'll say it was entertaining.
Yeah, it was with Brock
Lesnar
continually trying to crawl.
Yeah, Brock trying to crawl out and Cena holding it on. It was entertaining in that regard of with that and Paul Heyman and how you were feeling yourself watching it. You had that element of, oh shit, Brock, don't do it, don't tap, Brock. Don't
and the crowd too.
Or if you're for Cena, you have the element of just tap already, just tap. You almost feel the wrestler's frustrations, and with your favorite or least favorite, you're rooting for him more within that moment. It's sort of like, that's why I mentioned the double turn. It reminded me a bit with how long it was. Do you remember when Bret Hart had Austin in the in the sharpshooter, and it's like, no, he won't tap, but you didn't get bored by that. Either you were for Austin or you were for Bret, and it worked.
Okay. Then as per the ending...
Goldberg are just holding each other close for like 20 minutes.
For the ending, that sounds really annoying, because I always, that's one thing I've always wanted them to do with Money in the Bank, is they're like, cash it in, and then they get in the ring, and then someone will hit them, and then they just leave, and I'm like, no, that should count. I want someone to get screwed out of their thing by being stupid like that. That should be the risk you run. I think that's more entertaining. But but it seems like Seth, just taken from earlier, is also running the lesser used heel handbook, if he's got that from earlier with the I'll give someone I'll give you 10 seconds to Jesus, this again. I was glad when they stopped doing that.
Yep.
But other than that, I don't know. End sounds, other than that annoyance, I mean, doesn't sound that great, but
Yep.
I
Which,
don't
yeah,
know.
the ending did sort of taint it, but yeah,
Yeah,
it was a case. But it's a case of with that money in the bank thing when they've done that. Yeah, like I said, when they're in the ring, count it.
yeah,
If they're in the ring,
definitely.
you should only. If they've said I'm cashing in, they're
Yeah,
cashing in.
yeah.
I don't give a shit if they're knocked out. Or and B, I will also make the case of I don't think John Cena really did save Brock because curb stomp. Seth Rollins goes to run into the ring. Cena grabs him, hits him into the announce table, throws him into the ring. Seth Rollins runs the fuck out the ring. Cena runs in after him. Cena turns around and eats an F5. Logically speaking, within the confines of how Brock got up and did the F5, I think Brock probably would have kicked out, which would have been more hilarious. Curb stomp. 1, 2, Brock kicks out and there's Seth Rollins. Oh shit! I also love the
That would
fact
be
he tried to
great as
cash in
long
on
as his
Brock and
face.
that's the one time Dean Ambrose wasn't there. Sorry, I realised we were stepping on each other and probably the
Oh, that's good.
lag within the conference. But yeah, I just meant that I thought that was hilarious. If the one time he goes to do it against Brock is the one time Dean Ambrose like, nope, I'm gonna allow this.
Yeah,
That
and
would
then,
be
no, that
amazing.
would have been better if they did that. Brock kicked out and he had the oh shit look on his the oh shit look on his face, and then it just cuts back over to Brock and behind back. You just see Paul Heyman just dying of laughter outside the ring.
Can I suggest for the future, since at the end of the pay-per-view we are talking slight futures normally after the end of pay-per-views, since we talked about the matchup and stuff, can I suggest for the future, and I think I've mentioned this before, but can I suggest partially turning Brock?
That could be interesting.
I don't want Brock to be face, because obviously we want Roman Reigns to beat him as a face. However, why don't we build the Authority and Brock Lesnar now as sort of tweener-ish to the degree that they're both heels, but you can root for one or the other. Because we've seen face be face, but let's see Paul Heyman and Brock go to war with the Authority over what Seth Rollins dared to do, and let's see matches like Brock v Randy Orton,
Where he
Brock
gets no
v
help.
Kane. Yeah, Brock v Kane, Brock v Triple H, or something. And then maybe Brock can recruit some people. I don't know, CM Punk comes back as a Paul Heyman guy. Or, you know what I mean? Or Cesaro could rejoin the Paul Heyman guys. And they can actually make up a group as big as the Authority. And they don't need the Authority's blessing. They're just winning based on dominance. Like, I could totally see Rusev siding with them based on the fact Rusev's winning by pure dominance. They could put together a stable of pure dominance versus pure power. So, and the good people, and I don't mean good in terms of personality, not in skill, if anyone says that, but the good people, like, say, Sheamus or John Cena or Big Show, they're just going to be caught in the crossfire, and to the point they're also going to have to unite and make a group together. Perfect for Survivor Series, where we can go to one big group civil war within the WWE. I don't mean civil war within Marvel. I'm not saying Superstar Registration Act. I'm just talking about civil
Rey
war.
Mysterio has to take off his mask and say who he is.
Yeah, he takes it off, and it turns out he's been Sin Cara the entire time.
He's been Eddie.
Yeah, he does that mask like he did when he was against Jericho. He takes it out, or Cody. He takes it off, and underneath is another mask, which he's done in the past. But no, I just like the idea of a group of faces, two groups of heels, and let's just get them going to war.
Agreed.
By the way, I have to mention, you reminded me of something else that kind of pissed me off during this pay-per-view.
The fact I wasn't on voice, so you missed me.
Well, there's that too.
I thought
But,
so. I didn't miss you, but that's nice.
But no, during the Rusev match, I believe it was Michael Cole who mentioned, one of them mentioned, I think it was Michael Cole, who mentioned that Rusev is undefeated. And that's complete bullshit. He's got one loss on his record. You can't just overlook that.
It was by disqualification. It doesn't count.
It was
Still
by
a loss on his record.
It was by disqualification, and as we've mentioned in the past, as far as WWE is concerned, while we may think it's a loss, as far as WWE is concerned, you're still undefeated until you get your first pinfall or submission with loss, which is stupid, but that's how they work that, which is stupid.
Bullshit. And if you do get a pinfall submission or loss, they'll just have you leave for a month or two and then bring you back as undefeated.
Yep. The undefeated Rusev.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
because that always pissed me off
Shows
from
his
that
hair.
point where Randy Orton basically cost him his undefeated streak and Rusev just doesn't care. I'm like, really? It just
Although,
cost you your undefeated streak, dude.
although they could always bring it up if we had my idea. Rusev could mention that
Yeah.
he's doing it and mention that some people have claimed my Rusev. I'm not going to do the accent because it's stupid. Some people could claim that my Rusev or Rusev himself has basically had his record tainted, even though he's never lost by pinfall or submission. He's just had it tainted by, oh, that's right, the Authority. And let's have him join Paul Heyman. Imagine Paul Heyman and Lana together with mouthpieces. Imagine the sheer trolling.
Yeah. Although that reminds me of one potentially bad thing for Paul Heyman, though. Supposedly the next match that they're going to be doing with Brock Cena, if they go the way we think, it's going to be them in Hell in a Cell. Paul Heyman didn't have the best experience last time he represented somebody that was in a Hell in a Cell match.
However, I would argue the last time he represented Brock Lesnar in Hell in a Cell, he did defeat The Undertaker.
True, I just expected all that will happen. I also would not be shocked to see John Cena beat the hell out of Paul Heyman on top of the cell.
Yeah, which I will say, that was one thing I did find. It was a weird match to do, that Hell in a Cell with Undertaker, where he's got a cast on his arm, and the whole match, or a load of the matchups, is finding conveniently placed holes where are already on the cell for his cast to end up accidentally getting inserted into while Brock takes control. However, I do love the fact that next night after that, when Undertaker came out, he did mention some people claimed I only lost to Brock because of the cast on my arm. I say that's bullshit. The better man won and stuff. And I'm like, okay, he actually put him over. That's cool. He could have done the dickish thing of make up an excuse why he lost and moved, and like a lot of stars, because I hate that. I hate when a star wins or when a star loses legitimately, and yet they come up with a stupid bullshit reason if they're a face.
Yeah.
If they're a heel, I expect it. Heel logic. But if you're a face, don't do that. Oh, I only lost because guy in third row shined his camera a little too bright in my eyes.
Yeah, that's good. That's pretty much gonna be like tonight. Dolph Ziggler's probably gonna show up on Raw tomorrow and be like, "Oh, I only lost because Miz grabbed my tights." Oh yeah, bullshit.
Yep.
But anyway, so Richter, you want to give us some final thoughts here, wrap it up?
Okay. Sounded like it was actually a pretty solid card, which is kind of surprising, considering their last few. But so that was the our recap and thoughts on Night of Champions. So if anyone listening has any questions or comments, feel free to put them down there. And thank you all for joining us.
It was my pleasure, Rick.
It was mine as well.
Indeed.
Okay. So any final thoughts before we go off then?
We'll say it's cool. The pay-per-view overall was a pretty good pay-per-view, and they've actually done a successful job of making me want to see the next one of Hell in a Cell, which we'll also be reviewing. And I do kind of wish WWE would do one thing with Hell in a Cell, possibly.
Stop having a pay-per-view named after it. That's the only thing it tends to show up at.
No, if you're gonna put, you're gonna do Hell in a Cell, fair enough. I understand. Sheamus, it's gonna be Cena v Brock, fair enough. But for the second Hell in a Cell on the card, if you go the route of having a secondary one, can we have a 6-man Hell in a Cell back again? But this time, make it for the fucking Intercontinental Championship with Dolph Ziggler, R-Truth, Miz down, and insert 2 other people in there during the month or whatever. Because I think that'd be pretty fun. A 6-man Hell in a Cell to show off like the mid card. I think that could be kind of cool. Because I think the 6-man Hell in a Cell is probably the most underrated of the Hell in a Cells. While it wasn't the best, it was certainly underrated because everyone's like, "This is shit." But I've seen worse Hell in a Cells.
Yeah, I think it could be a good idea. Marcus, what do you think?
I agree. That could be a fun match. And I like Night of Champions. As Richter said, it was a pretty good card. And for the most part, the wrestlers, the competitors delivered. So, good work, WWE, on this one. Jim?
Richter?
All right. So
Donkey?
Jim, you're not going to give an opinion? Wow, okay. Go ahead, Richter.
Like I said, Basically, yeah.
view.
Basically, like I said, I thought it was a decent pay-per-view. I was not as impressed as I've been with some others. I thought some of the matches were okay. Like Jericho Orton had a good match. The opening tag team title match was pretty good, but it felt like a lot of the matches that kind of I don't know. They felt like Cena Lesnar was pretty good from a story standpoint, and there was a lot of good technical stuff in there. But for some reason, I don't know why the pay-per-view just kind of felt like it was kind of like the pay-per-view was happening only because okay, the Cena Lesnar match had back to it. But it seemed like the entire rest of the pay-per-view was just there because we have to put on a pay-per-view.
Hmm.
It didn't seem like most of the matches were decent matches, but it didn't seem like they were we need to have these. It seemed like we need to put these matches together because we're having a pay-per-view, not these feuds escalated to the point where we need a pay-per-view match.
Yep, which I've often argued that's the problem we've always ran into ever since they went to 12 pay-per-views a year. Even worse when they had 13 or 14.
Yeah, well, they're hopefully at least coming up, they'll be a little bit better at come the start of the year because it's been made note that the Payback pay-per-view after WrestleMania has been pushed back, so there's now 7 weeks between WrestleMania and the next pay-per-view.
It's also if it's after WrestleMania, wouldn't it be Extreme Rules?
Isn't it? I think they switched up the pay-per-view schedule. Let me check.
Yeah, they may have. Although I was talking to someone before. You know what pay-per-view I want brought back, Rick?
Which?
Bragging rights.
Mm.
However, WWE versus NXT.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, they reworked
bragging rights. I think that'd be great because
That'd be
it could showcase bragging. It could showcase obviously our bragging rights. It could showcase NXT guys. Like imagine if someone like Adrian Neville suddenly got a pinfall over John Cena.
That would be huge.
In like the multi-man matchups or something. I think that'd be kind of cool, and it'd make people go, "Oh, I like these NXT people. I might have to watch NXT now because, yeah, there's going to be WWE people showing up on NXT, and I think it'd be a great way to showcase the developmental people, and also possibly bring back the pay-per-view bragging rights. I like that pay-per-view.
I also think if they showcase the NXT guys, that might get more people to sign up for the network.
Yeah. Well, supposedly they're going to be doing
How much
just
is it,
that.
Rick?
I don't remember.
You'll have to wiki that later, Jim.
Yeah, I'll check later. But I do mention they might be doing that because, as was sent out by a mysterious WWE tweet, they did say that tomorrow night on Raw, the future is coming.
To be fair, they tweeted that
Drew
a while
McIntyre.
back. Yeah, to be fair, they tweeted that a while back, and if you also remember, 2K have also pointed out when they said the future is coming or the next generation is coming. 2K have also tweeted that tomorrow is the gameplay debut for WWE. So I'm imagining it'll be on IGN at some point. They'll show it during Raw. That's what I was thinking, but it could be NXT, which would be kind of cool.
Yeah, because supposedly there was that they were going to more heavily promote NXT on the main roster after the success of their match last Monday night.
Oh God, I'm just imagining a pay-per-view poster, and I don't know why, Rick.
Uh-oh.
I'm imagining Invasion, but the N is now the Nexus N. And I don't know why. I'm like, yeah, WWE would see that and go, yeah, done. Seems legit, done. It's like, wait, you're going to have an invasion yearly? So it's not really an invasion because you plan it and they know it's coming.
Yep.
It's yearly.
But anyway, yeah, I'm checking the list here, and according to this, Hell in a Cell's October, Survivor Series November, TLC December. Then we don't. I don't know what January, February are. They're not announced yet. But March 29th is WrestleMania 31, and then
January and February, the first 2 months of the year.
Shut up. But anyway, the WrestleMania 31 is March the 29th. It's very late in March, and the next pay-per-view after that will be Payback, which will be May 17th. So they're going to go. Nice. There will be no pay-per-view in April because the last WrestleMania is like 2 days before the end of March. There won't be an April pay-per-view. The next pay-per-view will be May in the middle of May.
Unless it's an NXT one.
There could be.
But I was going to say, yeah, fair enough. That's cool and all, Jim. But did you ever find out how much the network cost?
I want to say somewhere in the range of $10. I'm not positive, though. It might be a little more than that.
I know there was a 9 in there somewhere, and I'm not sure, but was it 691?
619, maybe? Was it a Rey Mysterio tribute? I'm not sure.
Was it 911?
If they have it on sale for the month, for like his birth month, like buy it now for only $6.19.
To which Richter would totally be like, you know what, this is cool, but based on the fact you're now doing this, I'm going to wait till Austin's birth month because, yeah, that'll be like buying stuff on Steam.
I need to save more.
That'll be like Steam.
And it'll be 316, yeah.
Although, do not buy it on Brock Lesnar's birth month because then it'll cost you $21.01.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay.
All right, so I'd like
yeah.
to thank everyone for joining us.
The third ending.
And the third ending, it's the Lord of the Rings. What can you do?
To be fair,
So-
on
Like
the Night of Champions, wouldn't our endings being completely fucked up and sort of slightly going against the actual intent be absolutely perfect based on how they ended the Rock Cena match?
Yes.
Either that or this is just our version of the ending to the movie Clue.
Fair enough.
Pick your favorite ending.
Okay.
It's a great movie. It's my favorite movie. All right, take it home, Richter.
All right. So again, thank everyone for joining us. Any questions or comments, throw them down in the comments section, and we will be back next week. So hopefully you will all join us. Good night, everybody.
And if you find out how much the network is, please leave below.
Yeah, let us know. also, as a reminder, join Marcus Shadow, Chris Amol, and myself tomorrow night when we take a look at the third of the Amazon Prime pilots in our special series, and we'll be taking a look at Hysteria.
Yep. Because actually story-driven content for pilot seasons are perfect for wrestling.
Yeah. Like Randy Orton said, hey, it's a season premiere.
Huh.
It is.
Okay.
He hosted the event with absolute class. Richter, Hammer, fade out.